Hey, welcome to the Gulo Forge. My name's Red, and today we're going to be discussing a game that I'm creating called Arcane Bullet Hell. Now, the purpose of me making this video is really simple actually. There's three reasons. The first reason is that I want to encourage other people who have always loved video games but don't think that they can learn the skills, that it's really not as bad as you would think, it just takes time. The second reason is obviously I want people to be excited about my game and watch the progress that I make over time as I begin to develop this game into something beautiful. And the third reason is sometimes you can find little nuggets of information out of this, so it'll be somewhat of a tutorial. Today we're just going to overview the game, and then I'll show you some of the features that I've recently coded in and how I did them. So let's go ahead and check it out. Arcane Bullet Hell is a pretty simple game. As the name implies, it is a bullet hell, but I added a different element to it that gives it a little bit of uniqueness. Now, it's based on you being a mage who wants to gain as many spells as possible so that he can liberate the world from the tyranny of monsters. But the way that the magic system works is unique compared to any other game that I've ever seen. So the way that your magic works is you have to remember your spells. So when you get a spell, it doesn't actually do anything. You don't just press a button and instantly cast a spell. You have to remember the rune combination and then input the runes in the correct order for the spell to work. And the way that works is you have to charge your mana by holding down the left trigger. Your movement speed is reduced. But then you press the corresponding buttons, and each button is connected to a rune type. So if you wanted to cast a firebolt, it would be fire, 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 air. Once you've correctly put in the incantation, the spell will be usable. You have a certain number of ammunition that you can use for that spell, and once it runs out, you have to cast another spell. I think that this will be a way to make the player really feel like a mage as they're going around collecting spells and putting them into their spell book and remembering these incantations for certain situations. Now, it's also important to note the gear aspect of the game. Whenever you kill enemies, they have a chance to drop gems. These gemstones can then be equipped. You can have up to 3. They boost stats, and they also boost a respective element. By doing that, you get that nice Skinner box feeling that people love to have, like, say, Diablo, or basically any MMORPG. So some features that I've recently added into the game is that I have added in some camera shake to make the game a little bit more lively. When you add in that camera shake, whenever you land a hit on an enemy or whenever you're casting a really powerful spell, it makes the game look a little better. So I'll show you one of the examples that I use, and then I'll also show you how to code in your own camera shake for your own game that you may be developing. So this is one of my favorite spells in the game. It's called Sunray. After correctly putting in the incantation, you hold down the right trigger to fire for a little bit, and the blast charges up, and then it shoots a beam at enemies that deals burn damage over time. Now, I added in some camera shake to it, and you can see how that's looked. That camera shake really adds in a lot to the game and making it look really nice. Let's go ahead and add some camera shake to some of our other spells. On my other spells, the camera shake, the way that it works is they don't really have as big of an impact as, say, the sunbeam does. They're just simple spells that you fire off, but when they connect with an enemy, they do cause some camera shake. Now, having one camera shake whenever you hit an enemy will get pretty dull pretty fast because you'll be able to recognize it every time. So we're going to mix up the different camera shakes that we have by creating multiple animations for it, and I'll show you how to do that now. So the way that you add camera shake to your game is first you want to make a parent object. If you don't have a parent object on your camera, you're going to have some problems. Now, if your game doesn't have a moving camera, then you don't need to make a parent for the game object. But my camera follows the player. So we want to have the parent object follow the player, and then the camera play its own animation. Otherwise, the camera will get stuck in one spot whenever it's in the idle animation. So now that we're making the animation for it, all we're going to do is we are going to hit the record button, and then we're going to move the camera slightly about every 1 millisecond, I would say. Or is that 0.01? I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. After we move it in several directions, that'll be the one shake. We save this one, and then we can make as many as we want to get unique shakes. Now I know what you're thinking. How do we get the game to know which animation that it needs to play? That's easy. All you have to do is you have to make triggers for each one. So you see I have shake 1 in here. Well, let's go ahead and let's make 5 different shakes. Now that we have 5 different shakes, all we need to do is go back into our code and we need to set the trigger for each one. But how does it know which one to do? Simple again. You make a random variable. So when you input random.range, it will pick a random number between 1 and 5. And then after that, it will shake the camera using one of those 5 animations that you have. Now, it's important to note that when you use random.range, you have to do 0, 1 number higher than what you're using for your random range. So if I want to do 5, I would do 0, 6, and then that would be 1 through 5, just so you know. All right, and there we go. Now we have unique camera shakes that occur, and there's up to 5 different ones, and they randomly occur whenever our firebolt spell, or any spell that is a ranged projectile spell, connects with our enemy. All right, thank you so much for coming and checking out the first devlog of my game and the little mini tutorial about adding camera shake. Go ahead and subscribe or leave a comment, leaving any tips. If this video was dog water, I would love to know about it. We're going to be trying to post a video every 2 weeks to a month. Game dev gets kind of chaotic sometimes, and I'm also a college student. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time on the Gulo Forge. I'll catch you later.